Hi, this is Krista at The Secret Yarnery. Today we are making this awesome pin curl granny baby blanket. This blanket has such an amazing texture, you just want to be rubbing on it all the time. It's a simple one-row repeat and features this amazing border. This border will be in a separate tutorial. I'll link it up in the cards when it's available and also in the description box down below. This is called Loops and Bridges border, and it just finishes off the blanket beautifully. So this blanket can be made in any yarn at all, but it's perfect for just a basic acrylic because it offers this great waffly stitch, a little bit textured, raised up and down, so it's super squishy, and it makes just regular yarn look amazing. But of course, it would also work up great in self-striping or a variegated yarn. It's a simple one-row repeat using simple crochet stitches. We're always going to start and end in the same way, so it has a really nice straight edge. So if wonky sides are something you struggle with, this pattern is for you. There are right and left-handed video tutorials for this pattern, so I'll link those up in the cards and also in the description box down below. If you'd like a written pattern to go along with this tutorial, it's available over on my website, secretyarnery.com, and also includes this border. The finished size of this blanket is 35 inches wide by 46 inches tall, or 89 centimeters wide by 117 centimeters tall. If you're going to be adding the border, then that will add another 6 inches in width and 6 inches in height. To make the pin curl granny baby blanket, I used 6 skeins of yarn, 2 of each color. These are Softly Baby. They are 100 gram skeins. They're 50% acrylic and 50% polyamide, so they're super squishy. And 100 grams is 110 meters. For the toddler size blanket that I made, I used a total of 160 meters or 1,378 yards, which is also 600 grams or 21.2 ounces. I also used a 6mm hook, a darning needle, and a pair of scissors. So let's get started. To start the pin curl granny baby blanket, get the first color of yarn you're using and make a slip knot. Shrink that down and put it onto your hook. So now we're going to chain any multiple of 7, depending how wide you want your blanket to be. So for a blanket that is 35 inches wide or 89 centimeters, I chained 161. An easy way of chaining is just putting a stitch marker every 10 chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And just popping a stitch marker into one of those loops right underneath your hook, and 10 more. 1, 2, 3, 9, and 10, and another stitch marker. So keep going until you have 161 chains. When your chain is the length you want it to be, take out your stitch markers and chain 2. 1 and 2. Now we're going to work into the 5th chain from our hook. So to count your chains, you don't count what is on your hook, just count these loops underneath. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to go right into the 5th chain from our hook. We want 2 strands of that stitch on the top part of our hook. So wrap your yarn and into the 5th chain from your hook, 2 double crochets. There's 1 and 2. Our chain counts as our first stitch, so that counts as a treble crochet. Chain 2, 1 and 2. Now we're going to skip 3 chains. So just looking at the bottom, we've worked into this stitch right here. So there's 1, 2, 3. We're going to work into the 4th, getting 2 strands of that chain on the top of our hook. So no wrapping your yarn into the 4th chain, 1 single crochet. Chain 2, skip 2, we worked into this chain, so there's 1, 2, we're going to work into the 3rd, wrap your yarn twice, and into the 3rd chain, 1 treble crochet, 1 double crochet, and 1 more double crochet. So all of our shells are going to be like this, 1 treble crochet and 2 double crochets. Chain 2, skip 3. So after our big stitches, after our big shell, we skip big, so we skip 3. So there's 1, 2, 3. We're going to work into the 4th with 1 single crochet. So push your hook in, 2 strands of that chain on the top of your hook, and make 1 single crochet. Chain 2. So we did a small stitch, we're going to do a small skip, so we're just going to skip 2. So we worked into this chain, so 1, 2, we're going to go into the 3rd chain, 2 strands of that chain on the top of your hook. So wrap your yarn twice, and into the 3rd chain, 1 treble crochet, and 2 double crochets. There's 1 and 2. Chain 2, 1, 2. We did our big stitches, so now we're going to do our big jump. So we're going to skip 3 chains. So we worked into this one. There's 1, 2, 3. We're going to go right into that 4th chain with our single crochet. So no wrapping your yarn, just push your hook straight in, 2 strands of that chain on the top of your hook, and make 1 single crochet. Chain 2, 1, 2. Wrap your yarn twice and skip 2 chains, so into the 3rd chain, 1 treble crochet, and 2 double crochets, all into the same chain. 1 and 2. So chain 2. So we did our big stitch, so we'll do our big jump, skip 3 chains, and into the 4th chain, 1 single crochet. Chain 2, and now we're going to do our shell. So wrap your yarn twice, small stitch, small jump, so we're going to work into the 3rd chain. I'm going to skip 2 and work into the 3rd, 1 treble crochet, and 2 double crochets into the same chain. 1 and 2. So keep going like this all the way along, doing this nice repeat, and I'll meet you at the end of your row. At the end of your row, do your chain 2, and we're going to skip 3 and make our single crochet into that very last chain. If your chain is a bit off, you have an extra chain or 1 chain less, don't worry about it, just put your single crochet into the very last stitch. So poke your hook in and make 1 single crochet. And that finishes row 1. So now this is the repeat. This is what we're going to be doing for every single row. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and turn your work. So this counts as our first treble crochet. And now we're going to work into that very first stitch. We're always going to start our row working into this very first stitch and make 2 double crochets, all into the same stitch. There's 1 and 2. Chain 2. So then we're going to jump over these stitches and work right into this space, kind of at the top of that hill, right here. So put your hook into that space and make 1 single crochet. Chain 2. And now into the stitch, right here, our little short valley, we're going to do our shell. So wrap your yarn twice, put your hook into that stitch, and make 1 treble crochet and 2 double crochets, all into the same stitch. There's 1 and 2. Chain 2. Skip over these stitches, and we're going to work right into the top of that next hill, into the space. So just put your hook in and make 1 single crochet. Chain 2, 1, 2. Wrap your yarn twice, and into the stitch or the bottom of that valley, we want to make our shell. So 1 treble crochet, 1 treble crochet, and 2 double crochets, all into the same stitch. There's 1 and 2. Chain 2, 1, 2. Skip the stitches. We're going to work into the top of that hill, just into the space. Put your hook in and make 1 single crochet. chain 2, 1, 2, wrap your yarn twice, and into the stitch at the bottom of that valley, we're going to do our shell. So 1 treble crochet and 2 double crochets all into the same stitch. There's 1 and 2. Chain 2, jump over those stitches and into the hill, into the space, 1 single crochet. So your work will start to look like this, and you can see it's a bit like weird, it's wonky, don't worry about it. This is normal. So keep going, making your shells and a chain 2 single crochet, chain 2 shell all the way along your row, and I'll meet you when you get to the end. When you get to the end of your row, keep working your way along. So I've done my chain 2, there's still my little single crochet right here in the valley. So just keep working your way, 1 treble crochet, and 2 double crochets into that stitch, chain 2, always doing a chain 2, and now at the end of our row, this is going to help us keep a nice straight edge. We're going to work right into that same space, right into that chain 4 space at the end of our row. So just put your hook into that space and 1 single crochet. So that is the new edge of our blanket. And that is the end of our row. So just to recap, this is the repeat. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and turn your work. Into the first stitch, 2 double crochets, right at the edge, right where that chain started from. 1 and 2, chain 2, always a chain 2, single crochet into the space at the top of the hill, chain 2, and make your shell into the valley. That stitch down there is going to get your shell. So treble crochet and 2 double crochets all into that same stitch. 1 and 2. Chain 2, 1, 2, single crochet into the top of that hill, chain 2, and shell into the valley. So wrap your yarn twice, and 1 treble crochet, and 2 double crochets into that stitch at the valley. That is our new shell. Chain 2, single crochet into the top of the hill, just into that space. Chain 2, wrap your yarn twice, and make a shell into that valley or into that stitch. So 1 treble crochet, 1 double crochet, and another double crochet. Chain 2, single crochet into the top of the hill, chain 2, and into the stitch, into that valley, wrap your yarn twice, and you make your shell of 1 treble crochet and 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. Chain 2, 1, 2. And at the end of our row, we're just going to do our single crochet right into this space, right over there, just to pin everything down. So single crochet into that space. And you can see your edges are getting nice and straight. So now keep going like this until your blanket is the height you'd like it to be. If you would like to change yarn colors, you'll do it at the end of your row. So just pretend we're finishing off our row, and I want to start my single crochet. So I'll bring my yarn back, but I won't finish that stitch. So get a loop of your new yarn and just finish that single crochet. So pin everything down, pinching it with your fingers, bring that new yarn through, drop your tails, you can just hold those behind, and then continue your next row. So do your chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pin these down. You can tie these and weave in your tails, and just turn your work and keep going with your new yarn color. When you have finished your yarn and you don't have enough to make one more row, at the end of that row, finish your row like you normally would. Chain 1, cut your yarn, pull your hook up and your yarn through, and snug that down. Now you can weave in your tails and you're ready for the border. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I'd love to see yours. You can tag me over on Instagram at Secret Yarnery or Facebook, The Secret Yarnery. You can also join our Facebook group, The Secret Yarnery Crochet Community. Lots of really cool projects going on over there. And I'm also on Pinterest at Secret Yarnery, so you can find me over there too. So I hope you have a super great day. Thanks for hooking along. We'll see you in the next video, and stay hooked.